Brought to you by the Center for Real Estate Education, recareercenter.com. Welcome to an enlightening session on the agency relationship in real estate. Agency relationship, a term you might have heard often. But what does it truly mean? Well, in the world of real estate, it's a crucial concept that underpins every transaction. It's the legal bond between a real estate agent and their client, a relationship based on trust, confidence, and a mutual agreement. Understanding this relationship is essential, whether you're a seasoned agent, a fresh-faced rookie, or even just a curious onlooker. It shapes how agents interact with clients, influences the decisions they make, and ultimately, it can make or break a deal. We'll be exploring this topic in depth, delving into the basic roles within an agency relationship, the different types of agency, and the processes for creating and terminating these relationships. Now that you understand what we will be covering, let's dive into the details. To start, we need to understand the key players in an agency relationship. In the realm of real estate, an agency relationship is formed when a property owner, known as the principal, grants authority to a real estate agent to act on their behalf. This relationship is based on trust, transparency, and agreement between the two parties involved. The principal, who's often the property owner, employs the agent to carry out certain actions or to provide specific services. These tasks may include selling or buying property, negotiating deals, or managing property, amongst others. The principal grants the agent the power to create a legal relationship with a third party, the customer. Now, the agent, often a real estate broker or salesperson, is the individual authorized by the principal to perform actions on their behalf. The agent is obligated to act in the best interest of the principal, keeping their motivations, desires, and financial interests at the forefront of all decisions. Finally, we have the customer. This is the third party who the agent interacts with on behalf of the principal. The customer could be a potential buyer or seller depending on the situation. It's important to note that while the agent must treat the customer fairly and honestly, their primary allegiance is to the principal. With these roles clearly defined, we can now explore the types of agency relationships. There are several types of agency relationships, each with its own characteristics. Let's dive right in and start with universal agency. This is the broadest type of agency relationship. Here, an agent is given full authority to act on behalf of a client in all matters. Think of it like giving someone a master key to your life. They can make decisions, sign contracts, pretty much everything. Next, we have general agency. This is a notch down from universal agency. In a general agency relationship, the agent is given the authority to act on behalf of a client in specific, ongoing business activities. It's like giving someone a key to your office, but not your entire house. Then there's special agency, which is the most limited type of agency. The agent is authorized to perform only specific tasks for the client. It's like giving someone a key to a specific room, say your garage, and nothing more. Lastly, we have dual agency. This is a bit more complex. In a dual agency relationship, the agent represents both the buyer and the seller in the same transaction. It's like being a mediator in a negotiation, where you have to balance the interests of both parties. These are just a few examples of agency relationships. Each one comes with its own set of responsibilities and legal considerations. It's important to understand these differences as they can significantly impact how you conduct business. Now that we are familiar with the types of agency relationships, the next step is understanding how these relationships are formed. Creating an agency relationship involves several critical steps. It's not as simple as just shaking hands and saying, "You're my agent now." There's a process that ensures everyone involved knows their roles and responsibilities. Firstly, there's the agreement stage. This is where the client and the agent agree to enter into this relationship. It's typically formalized in writing, but it can also be an oral agreement. The key here is mutual consent. Both parties must willingly choose to enter into this relationship. Next up, we have the consent stage. This is where the client gives the agent the authority to act on their behalf. Consent is crucial because it gives the agent the legal ability to represent the client's interests. Now, with the agreement and consent in place, the agent then assumes a fiduciary responsibility. This means they are legally obligated to put the client's interests above their own. They must act with utmost good faith, loyalty, and fidelity. They must also provide full disclosure of all material facts that the client should know. So you see, creating an agency relationship is a structured process. It's about forming a professional bond based on trust, consent, and a shared goal. It's a partnership where each party understands and accepts their roles and responsibilities. An agency relationship, once formed, can also be terminated. Let's discuss how. Terminating an agency relationship can occur for several reasons. Just like every good book has a final chapter, every agency relationship in real estate has an endpoint. The termination of this relationship can happen in a variety of ways. One common way is through the completion of the agency purpose. This is when the agent has fulfilled their role and the goal of the relationship has been achieved. For instance, when a real estate agent successfully sells a property, the agency relationship between the agent and the seller automatically ends. Another method of termination is the expiration of terms. That's when the time period agreed upon by all parties involved has passed. If a real estate agent and a client had an agreement that lasted for 6 months, and those 6 months are up, the agency relationship is considered terminated. The agency relationship can also end through mutual agreement. This happens when both the agent and the principal decide to end their relationship. They might agree to part ways due to a variety of reasons, such as a change of plans or a disagreement. Finally, termination can occur through revocation by the principal. The principal has the right to end the relationship at any time. However, depending on the agreement, there may be consequences for premature termination. Understanding the termination of an agency relationship wraps up our discussion on this crucial aspect of real estate. The ending of an agency relationship is just as significant as its beginning, and being aware of how and why it can occur is key to navigating the real estate world successfully. We've covered quite a bit of ground today, so let's summarize the main points. We started by introducing the concept of an agency relationship in real estate, where agents represent the interests of their clients, whether they're buyers or sellers. We then delved into the various types of agency relationships, including seller's agency, buyer's agency, dual agency, and designated agency, each with its unique dynamics and obligations. We also discussed how to create an agency relationship, which primarily involves a mutual agreement, often formalized in a written contract. And of course, we touched on how to terminate an agency relationship, which can occur due to fulfillment of the agreement, expiration of the contract, mutual agreement, or breach of contract. Thank you for joining us today. Remember, a strong grasp of the agency relationship can greatly improve your skills as a real estate professional. Until next time, this has been brought to you by the Center for Real Estate Education, recareercenter.com.